Welcome to the channel. We have seen the new Model Y and it is in production now in China. In this video I will tell you why you should not buy one and how Cybertrucks might be illegal. Tesla announced the new Model Y, codenamed Juniper, last week and it's available to order now. I will go over all the new features and the latest news on it shortly, but first I think you should not buy a new Model Y. And if you find this content interesting, please give me a like and subscribe as it really helps my channel grow. Why do I think you should not buy a Model Y? Why actually is very simple: money. Now don't get me wrong, this channel is called Tech in the Car. And so if you ask me to decide between the latest Model Y Juniper or the current model, then I would of course choose the latest model. But that doesn't mean it's the smart option to go for. There are lots of videos of it now in China, looking at the new colors and making the design more like other Chinese cars. This is because Tesla sold more of the Model Y in China than the US last year. So it made sense to make the design more in line with other Chinese cars. Now that Tesla's launched the Model Y in the US and the UK and around the world, you can start to see the European and the US pricing. Now, what's really interesting here is they're not doing it as the only model available right now. They're doing it as a special launch edition, which is on sale at the same time as the previous generation Model Y, and as a result it's more expensive. It's $599 a month in the US. Cash it's $52,490 after savings. I do find the way that Tesla does the prices in the US a bit strange, because they also want you to include gas savings of $6,000 over 5 years. It's not like you get that money back. It's not like that money is deducted from the price. It's money you will save over 5 years. It shouldn't really be included in the price. However, the federal tax credit is, and it should be, and that comes to $52,490. If you look at the UK pricing, it really looks a lot more expensive in the UK. Remember, around $500 in the US, and now we're looking at £875, which is about $1,000 in the UK for the launch edition. Not only that, it launches later. March is when it comes to the US, whereas we're looking at May for the UK. £875 a month, which is a lot. And that's $60,990. And of course, those fuel savings, we removed those. Now this is for the long range all-wheel drive version. If you compare it to the current version, it's £375 a month instead of $875. That is a big difference. That's £500 a month on personal contract hire in the UK. That is a ridiculous amount of money more each month. $55,390 in cash, so it's slightly closer if you're looking at it in cash, but wow, is that expensive. And then you compare it to the current stock and used prices, which we'll look at, wow. In fact, Tesla sold 480,309 units in 12 months in 2024, a 5.4% increase on 2023, compared to 372,613 units in the US in 2024, and that was a decrease on 2023 sales by 6.6%. China is a super important market for all car manufacturers, and particularly EVs. You just have to look at the success of Chinese companies like BYD that sold the most cars of any car maker in China in 2024, although the Model Y was the biggest selling individual model in China last year. About a year ago, I made a video questioning Tesla and their approach. At the time, there was no Cybertruck. We had been waiting and waiting and waiting, and it just wasn't ready. Then, like a SpaceX rocket launch, the Cybertruck was out. And boy, did it have some cool new tech in it. The first Tesla with 800-volt architecture, steer or drive by wire, and of course a futuristic and almost indestructible design, which even if it had no other benefits, would mean that you would never ever have to worry about coming back to your car in a car park and finding damage on it. No more inconsiderate drivers or shoppers, although that may also be because no one wants to park next to your Cybertruck because it's so intimidating and everybody will be worried about you hitting them. But despite all these advances amongst others, the Cybertruck is no longer in as much demand as it once was. In Berlin, Tesla have reportedly started production of the new Model Y. It's going to take some time to get the production lines up for the new Model Y, but what that means is discounts. There are some seriously good discounts to be had in the USA and in the UK. Look at these Model Y long range models. They are showing discounts of between $400 and $2,040. How can you ignore discounts like these if you're considering a Model Y, when the new version really isn't that big of a step up? And there may be more money off deals that I even missed. And don't forget the referral discount, which gets you another $1,000 off. That's up to $3,000 off depending on the discount. And there are discounts all over the world too. Here in the UK, I can see discounts of up to £3,170. That's around $4,000. Big discounts. Take that discount and have a great holiday, or cover your supercharging for a good while. So why would you want a new Model Y when you have all these discounts and advantages? Well, Tesla have added some great new features and funky design elements which bring it up to the same level as a Model 3 and Cybertruck. First of all, there is that new Cybercab meets Cybertruck design with a light bar at the front with lower headlights and an enormous Tron-like glowing light bar at the back. They have added an indicator stalk, improved the interior with upgraded seats that are both ventilated, heated, and power reclining. It has a smoother, quieter ride thanks to some new suspension tweaks, and it is even more aerodynamic and efficient, meaning improved range. They've also added drainage to the front, so you can put ice and liquids up there, and there is now an infotainment screen in the rear. Plus, as I said, it looks futuristic, and that's worth $3,000 by itself. That indicator stalk cannot be underestimated. So should you wait or buy a new Model Y? That's up to you. My heart says yes, my brain says no. In that battle, only you can decide. But if you like money, then buying a current model, you won't be complaining, at least until you see someone with a new one. Let's go back to the Cybertruck. Here in the UK, Lamborghini enthusiast and Cybertruck owner Yanni from Yanimize has an Albanian registered model imported to the UK. He's working to get it homologated for the UK so he can register it on a UK number plate and drive it, but that hasn't happened yet as of his last video. Now, I give him huge credit for doing this. The gadget lover in me has imported the latest phones from abroad when they weren't available here, and a truck, well, that's next level. But when you stand out like that, you can attract attention you don't want. In this case, I mean the police. Now, here in the UK, we have some of the strictest laws on cars and driving. There are cameras watching our speed and how we're driving in pretty much every direction. And if you're in a major city, your movements all day long are being stored somewhere in government computers. A foreign registered Cybertruck in the UK is going to get attention, and for one unlucky person, this has happened. They imported the Cybertruck and the police in Manchester have impounded it for being illegal, which is a concern for Yanni and anyone else with one of these vehicles in the UK. What isn't clear is exactly what the police have taken it away for. In their social media posts, they cite it as being for invalid insurance. A sure way to get your car taken away in the UK, and maybe that was all it was. But then they went on to say it doesn't meet UK regulations and is illegal to be driven here. That isn't quite true. Whilst it is true it doesn't meet those regulations, it doesn't make it illegal to drive it if it is a foreign registered car for 6 months from entry into the UK. After that, it has to leave the country and presumably can be brought back after another period out of the country to restart the clock. But that's not what the police said. So who knows if it was just an over-enthusiastic social media team that posted that in a bid to make a point to discourage people driving foreign cars in the UK, or something else. But for Yanni, it has to be a concern. He's got the public attention and he's driving around in London. And what about Tesla? If the Cybertruck becomes available here in the UK, then they may make some changes to meet UK laws. One particular law here governs the weight of vehicles. The Cybertruck may be heavy, so you require a special driving license to drive it on the roads in the UK. This has to be a problem for Tesla should they decide to launch it here. What is the solution? They could make a version with a smaller battery to lower the weight, or use a mixture of stainless steel and other materials, which would change the design and look, but make it way less. Or perhaps they could just get an exemption in UK law if that's possible, and not make any changes at all. Who knows? We'll have to see if they launch it in the UK and in Europe. That's the latest on the Model Y, and do check out other videos on the Model Y and my in-depth review of the Model 3, both the rear wheel and performance versions. Don't forget to give me a like and subscribe, as it really helps my channel grow. And thanks for watching.